So, once again, a very, very warm welcome to everybody joining us here live today and also in the future. If you're watching this on the replay, very, very warm welcome to you as well. I am so delighted to be able to support you all with welcoming in your next 10 clients in the next 30 days. I love, love, love this work. So let's get stuck in, shall we? Firstly, I'd love to introduce myself. Now, for some of you, you already know me. You've been in my world for potentially years. For some of you, you are brand new. So a little bit about me and why I'm so passionate about the work that I do. So my name is Nicola Kinnard Comedy. I'm the director of NKC Equestrian Training. I set my coaching and training company up almost 10 years ago to really change lives and to help as many horses as possible. We've then gone on to support a lot of canine practitioners, which has been absolutely amazing. I'm a business mentor and an NLP coach practitioner for equine and canine therapists. So that might be body workers, vet physios, chiropractors, osteopaths, anybody else I have missed off that list, bit fitters, saddle fitters. These are the people just like you guys that we work with. I have a sales and marketing background. I'm a mama, I'm a tea lover, I'm a yoga fan, and I really, really do walk my talk. And the nuts and bolts of what I do every day is to support animal practitioners to double their income in 90 days or less. And I've supported hundreds of practitioners to radically change their lives and have the business that they want to have. So it is such a pleasure. It really is. So you're in safe hands. Okay, who have we got? Oh, hi, Sarah. We've got Sarah. We've got Jess, vet physio. We've got Lauren, mixed practice. Who else have we got? We've got Angela, equine massage. We've got equine canine human, osteopath, craniosacral, Kate, body worker. Amazing. Hey, Emily. Awesome. Cool. Well, if you're just joining us, please do feel free to stick in the chat who you are, where you're based. Oh, hey, Joe. Lovely to see you. Hi, Nina. Lovely to meet you. Awesome. Okay. Now, I think it's really important to just say at this point, you don't have to struggle. Coming from the equine industry, I've spent my whole life in the equine industry. I was a riding coach. Then I worked in veterinary sales, and then I set up my coaching and training company. There's a lot of struggle. We love a struggle on some level. But you know what? You don't have to keep making it hard. It doesn't have to feel difficult. I really pour my heart and soul into helping people, and I really am here to help you today and also to help you after today because I meet people every day and they are such talented practitioners and they are so great when there's an animal in front of them. And I'm sure this is resonating with you all listening. But the other side of the business, the marketing, the social media, the client attraction, the sales, all the rest of it feels less like a lot and they don't have a clear plan. And that's really what I have set this masterclass up for, to give you some clear actions to go and take to fill that gap. Because the work that I do is very much kind of filling the void that you don't get when you train and when you qualify. So it doesn't have to be hard. I just would ask, if you're joining us live, if you could stay muted. That would just be amazing, just because it makes the playback so much cleaner and clearer for everybody. So your next 10 clients, what are we going to be doing? Well, let's just set the intention, okay? You're here because you want to attract more clients. Amazing. And I'm going to give you 3 really simple steps to do so. We're going to be looking at clarity. Who are these ideal clients and have you got a niche? Let's look at that a little bit further. The clearer you are about who you want to work with, how you help them, why you're the one to go for, it affects everything and it will take out so much of the headache of marketing, okay? Then we're going to look at action taking, yeah? This is not a theory training. This is not a, oh, I watched a webinar. That was nice. This is taking inspired action. Okay, I'm going to do my absolute level best to get you guys to do something with this information. I don't want to just give you information. I really, really want to support you to implement this information, okay? So I'm going to share with you our client attraction formula and really, really inspire you. Just do one thing. Just take one action. Could be later today, could be tomorrow, but don't leave it. Don't leave it till next week. Like, get it done within the next 24 hours. And then our third step is embody. So you are going to need to make some changes in you in order to welcome in your next 10 clients. Now, for some of you, you might think, yeah, actually, she's totally right. For some of you, might be thinking, really? That sounds a bit crazy. Honestly, you do, okay? And I'm going to show you why that embodiment part is so, so important. Now, I think I may have already asked this favor, but let me just make sure I am being crystal clear on this favor. Just watching this masterclass is not enough. Like I said, I want you to take one action. I really, really do. I want you to use this material to build out a 30-day plan, because you can easily attract 10 clients in the next 30 days, but you're not going to do that hoping, praying, assuming word of mouth is going to do everything for you. Like, you do need a strategy. So use what I'm giving you today to build your own plan and go and implement it. Like, as I said, don't let this be another, oh, wasn't that interesting kind of a webinar or masterclass. Make this a time of change and inspired action. So if you've heard me present before, you will have seen this success code, and I make no apologies for sharing this again. I share this at the beginning of every talk training I do, because I believe that you just need three things for success as an equine or a canine practitioner. To be honest, you probably just need these three things for pretty much anything in life, actually. You need knowledge and skills. Like, you need hands-on with animals to be able to do the day job, okay? You need to know what you're doing, and you need to be able to get results for the animals that you help. Okay, great. I'm not here to help you with that one, okay? Let's assume we have the knowledge and the skills. For anybody that's hasn't qualified yet, no problem. You're still super welcome. You're going to have the knowledge and skills. So that's what we need. We need the hands-on ability. Then you need to believe in yourself and that hands-on ability. You need to know, like, deep in your bones, that you are great at the work that you do. Mindset for success. And then you simply need to tell the world how you can help them and their animal, aka marketing. Now, I know you've all got lots of number one, and I know that you're all doing some of number three. Some of you might be doing lots, some of you might be a bit hazy, it's a bit hit and miss, it's a bit random. But like, you've got some marketing in place. I'm going to make that assumption. The mindset is the bridge. It's the missing piece, because when you feel deep in your bones that you're good enough, that you're ready, that you know enough, that people want your help, that you are good enough, that you are just as good as X, Y, and Z, marketing becomes a pleasure. Marketing, like, you can't help but market yourself. Like, you'll want to shout from the rooftops about how you can help people and their animals. And I see this in my clients all the time. When they work on their mindset, when they build this mindset for success through very targeted, deliberate brain training techniques, marketing's so much easier, particularly when you know what to go and do. The marketing gets to be fun. So for anybody listening, watching, thinking, oh gosh, the marketing is such a pain, like, I just wish the clients would just come to me, it'd just be so much easier. The work on you enables this to be so much easier, which is why all of my coaching and training, including this webinar, this masterclass, does have some focus on you, because you are the business, and how you think and how you feel is affecting how you act and the results that you see. We can't ignore this, okay? So the good news is you've just got to worry about three things, one of which you do already have knowledge and skills, And what I see all the time, and for some of you, they'll be like, oh no, that's me, is all the focus, all the energetic budget, the financial budget goes on more knowledge and skills. Now, great. I am the biggest fan of development. You're always going to be learning, but there is no extra modality. There's no additional course which is suddenly going to make you feel good enough and bring you your next 20 clients. Yes, knowledge and skills. Yes, update your knowledge. Yes, keep really relevant and current, but you can't ignore these other two. Okay, so that's the success code. You're going to see how this is coming in very handy. Now, I wanted to share with you the methodology behind one of my coaching programs so you can kind of see where the pieces in this masterclass really fit in. So clarity is our first step today. And inside the Expert Academy, this is a big part of it. Like, we need to know who your ideal client is, which audience you're going to be working with. Then we're looking at positioning you as an expert, building these strategic partnerships, and then building out additional income streams so that you know where you are financially in your business. And as we take these strategic actions, you're building a mindset for success, you're shifting your identity, and you're also working on your money mindset. Now, this is a 12-week long program. There's lots in here. We can't cover all of this just in today's session, but I wanted you to see how these steps are part of a bigger methodology, okay? Because this stuff really, really works, which is super cool and really exciting. And it is part of mindset and action. Okay, so we are sticking with that success code all through today. Right, clarity. What do you want? That's my first question. I'd love you. Now, you've come to this masterclass because you want more clients. So I'd love you to get really specific. How many clients do you actually want? Now, I'm going to give you a great example of Becky, who was a client a number of years ago, and she came and she was like, I just need more clients, just more clients. I was like, cool. How many clients do you actually need? And it turned out that she only actually wanted 20 additional clients to take her business from just getting by just enough to actually feeling really comfortable, having a lot more financial abundance. She was so much closer than she realized, but she'd never really taken that time to work out what she actually wanted. So what I'd love you guys to do is to share, like, how many clients is it you want? For some of you, you know, be like, I am starting from scratch. I want to build a whole client base. For some of you, it might be, do you know what, actually, my schedule's looking relatively full, but I would love an additional 5 appointments a week or a month filled up. So what is it you're working towards? Because without this clarity, you can't celebrate halfway there. You can't celebrate 10% of the way there. And you can't really utilize the amazing power of your subconscious mind. So if you're here with me live tonight, I'd really love you to get specific and share with me, how many clients is it that you're actually looking to attract? Okay, so what is it you actually want? Okay. And then it's also really important that you ask yourself this question. Do you want what you say you want? Now you might be thinking, well, come on. Of course I want more clients. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm watching this. That's why I'm taking part in this masterclass. Because this is the thing. All the time, people say to me, well, I want more clients. I want more money. I want more business success. I want this and this. But, the magic but, I'm tired. I'm so busy. I'm so overwhelmed. Now, your mind cannot hold opposing beliefs. So you can't say, I want to grow my business. I want these additional clients, but oh, I'm so tired. I'm so overwhelmed. Because what will happen is your subconscious mind wants to keep you safe. And that will just go, oh, okay, you're telling me you're tired. You're telling me you're busy. We won't worry about those extra clients. Now, for some of you, you probably feel like either you don't know what to do to attract your next clients or like stuff's not working. And if you're in the kind of like, it's not really getting the results, I'm just not making the progress I want, I'd love you to rest a moment in this space and just think, have I got a conflict going on in my head? Do I truly want, or do I feel able to have what I say I want? Okay. Because we need the clarity. Yeah, 100%. Then we need to make sure all of you, body, mind, soul, spirit, everything is up for that goal because you cannot have both. You can't have I do want the clients, but sort of don't because X, Y, and Z. Okay. So please sense check that, all of you. And please let me know how that is landing. Like when you get honest with yourself, is there a part of you going, well, yeah, but if I had more clients, or I have time to ride my own horse, or whenever I see my dogs, da 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 da. Like that can really hold you back. Okay, Gemma, need to get clients, need to get foot in the door, right? Get specific, Gemma. How many clients is it that you are looking to attract into your business? Is it one? Is it 101? Okay, there is no right or wrong answer, but you need clarity on this, okay? Because otherwise you'll just constantly be in this state of lack. And that goes for all of you. You might simply want to welcome 10 clients. But if you're just in this, I need more clients, I need more clients, I need more clients, that's just a huge void that you're kind of shouting into. And all your brain is hearing is it's just not enough. We haven't got enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Okay. And that's not put you in a position of clarity, of decision making, of feeling confident, of feeling certain. So we need you to be in this real clear CEO mode. Okay, right. 10 consistent clients, 10 clients. Nothing is building my client numbers. Okay, Angela, well, great awareness and thank you for sharing. Is there anything, when you look at this, what I'm just saying now, is there anything stopping you from actually wanting those additional clients? Want 80 clients, 10 more clients in 3 different yards. Yep. Okay. Brilliant. Fantastic. We're getting a lot more clarity, which is awesome. Right. But again, keep sense checking. I want 80 clients, but if there's another part of you, another conversation going, gosh, when are we ever going to fit all that in? It's not going to happen. Okay. Right. Perfect. Now, I wanted to share this example of Katie, she's a lovely client that went through the Expert Academy, and she realized that she was treating herself, in her own words, like an apprentice. And actually, what she wanted to do was lead her business. She had a fairly established practice, but she really wasn't making that progress that she wanted. And when she had this kind of like mic drop moment that she was on the one hand saying, yes, I want all these extra clients, I want to build, I want to scale, I want to grow. But she was also treating herself like the work experience person, but probably worse, actually. She was paying herself last, she wasn't paying herself what she actually wanted to be earning. She was not treating herself like a leader. When she realized that and stopped those two kind of opposing beliefs, she had her first £8,000 month like 2 months later. And I think that was a goal that she had for further down the line. I think she was a couple of K over her projected goal for, I think it was January this year, which is amazing. And sometimes it is something as simple as getting out of your own way, which then means the strategy can work, because no strategy will really deliver the results you want if you don't want what you say you want. Okay, that is a mouthful of a sentence, but it's obviously really landing with you guys, which is super, super important, because your mind is your greatest asset, but you've got to set it up for success. And can you hold what you want? I hear people saying, oh, like I'd love 100 clients, but they have no structure in their business. They're not actually able to hold that number of, so say you wanted 100 new clients, or you wanted 10 new clients, whatever, or any number in between. And let's just say you got three inquiries and for each of those three inquiries, one turned into a client. Do you have the systems to deal with that? Do you have the time to process that? Do people know how they could get hold of you? So you need to make sure that you can hold that, whether that is mentally, emotionally, energetically, or through structure and systems in your business. You need to have something set up so that you can hold what you say you want to hold. Because again, otherwise it's not going to happen. You'll be amazed the loops and hoops that your brain will jump through to actually avoid you getting what you want if you don't feel able to manage it, hold it, enjoy it, etc., etc. Okay, bit more on the clarity. Right, we've done some clarity about the goal. Let's get into clarity around your ideal client. So who are these magic people that you want to work with? Now, I remember when I started my coaching and training company, I was like, anybody can come one of my courses. Anybody with a credit card and who likes horses in any capacity is the dream person to come to one of our horse first aid courses, which was our core offer when we started the business. I soon realised that actually, whilst anybody who liked horses or had a horse or was about to buy a horse or was a practitioner or was a professional, they could come. I couldn't market to all of them and I couldn't speak to all of them. And they weren't all actually the dream, the ideal client. So I learned pretty quickly that when you niche down, you get remembered. It's so easy to stand out and it becomes so much easier to position yourself as an expert and also to market yourself. And what I see so many practitioners doing is just being very vague and trying to appeal to everybody, which, like, I get it. I did it too. Commonsensically, it seems to make most sense, doesn't it? Like, well, I'll just kind of keep everybody on board. I'll just try and talk to everybody, and surely that's going to give me all the clients I want. It really doesn't work like that. And I appreciate a logical level that may not make sense, but you're just going to have to trust me with that one. When you have some sort of niche or you are very clear in your positioning of who you are, who you're for, who you're not for, what your business stands for, the results that you give people, client attraction becomes much easier. You have so much more clarity. You know who you're talking to when it comes to all your marketing messages. It allows you to specialize in something. You know, I was speaking at a university earlier this week to some final year vet physio students, and I was saying how if I wanted somebody to come and see Genghis Khan is our 19, he's just celebrated his 19th birthday. He's our rescue cat that we've had for a very long time. We've got around about 11. He's a very much loved member of our family. He is such a dude. If you follow us on social, you've definitely seen pictures of Genghis before. He's beautiful. If I was looking for somebody to come and make him, help him as he ages, help him with mobility and anything else, I want somebody that is a feline expert. Even better if they've got something about older cats or senior cats. I don't want somebody that's like, yeah, I treat horses, I treat dogs, and I'll sort of see the odd cat if I have to. Like, I want a specialist. If I had somebody coming to help me with the beautiful, he's now turned 5, actually, young thoroughbred that I was given to ride last year, I want somebody that understands an ex-racehorse, understands the fact he's super sweet, but he's wobbly and he's green and he's only ever sort of run in a straight line, and turning is a whole it's a whole new thing. I want somebody that understands that and can support me and the horse with what he needs. So we look for specialists, yeah. Just think if I was, or one of you, if I was looking for, I don't know, like a personal trainer, I don't want some trainer who specializes in making men super muscly. That's not really the look I'm going for. I want somebody that can support a woman who is busy, who is a similar age and demographic to me, I want somebody that can understand my body and the phase of life it's in and work with me where I am. So we're always looking for specialism in all aspects of our lives, and your ideal clients are exactly the same. So, how do you define your niche? This is something I love, love, love helping people with. I find it really fun actually. And I work on these three things, okay? You've got to love it. Whatever this thing is, you've got to have some skills or knowledge or experience, or you've got to have something which gives you a little bit of a way into this. And then there needs to be demand. People have got to want what it is you're offering. Now, I really suggest that you go beyond the obvious. So unless you have a real like love and a solid background in eventing, dog agility, or whatever it is, I would go like beyond that and think about like values and like energy and the sort of vision. So who is the ideal client who has a similar vision to you, who has, I want to say energy, I don't mean just like high energy or low energy. I mean like they they connect with their animal energetically in the way that perhaps you would, or you would with your own animals, or you do with clients' animals. Um, One great example of really going deep, deep, deep on a niche is a lovely lady I worked with last year, and she treats horses, but her main focus is treating dogs, but actually not just any dog. She really likes working with nervous dogs, the dogs that I think nobody else really wants to work with, the ones that perhaps owners have had experiences with vets, other practitioners, other paraprofessionals, where it was just all a bit much. And through the work that she's done with her own dog, this is just like her zone of genius, her passion. And there is loads of demand because if your dog is either nervous or anxious or a bit reactive, that can be quite stressful trying to find somebody that really gets that. Um, and that is a great example of kind of going beyond the obvious. And you might think, well, gosh, that's really like narrowed it down. Yes, exactly. It's narrowed it down beautifully for her because people remember her. Because not that's not what everybody's doing. People remember her, and then it's made marketing her business so much easier. It's made conversation with vets and other strategic partners just an absolute pleasure. And it's got us some amazing results. Like she's been able to double her business, take on team members. She's got 2 team members now. And having a really clearly defined niche has been such an important part of that. So if you think about your ideal client, if you think about how you're positioning yourself and your service and your business right now, is it a bit general? Are you positioning yourself as an expert, as a specialist in something? Have you just kind of gone a bit vanilla, as I call it, and you're just trying to appeal to everybody? Super important to really take a good hard look at your business and where you want it to go. And these are the things that are going to need looking at and changing and tightening up. Something I hear all the time is that all my clients are different. And I always believe, and this is what I teach, is that they may be different on paper. So you could have, let's just say you treat horses, you might have a top level show jumper and retired miniature Shetlands and everybody in between. And you think, well, what's my thing? What's my niche? Like they're so different. They could well be super different, but I know there's something that binds them together. There is some reason that they all wanted to work with you. You know, if you're not just like going for the sort of obvious like performance or rehab, if you have got a real mixed bag of clients, cool, work with that. spend a little bit of time on what connects those dots, like what brings them all together, what brought them to you. Um, One of my past Expert Academy clients, Erin, she had said exactly these words. She's like, "Wow, all my clients are totally different." And when we really drilled into it, they were different, but actually the thing that really bound them together, she treats horses, is that they all these owners, they all wanted to learn, they all wanted to listen, and they all really were very focused on doing what it took. And it's been really interesting, even since she sort of positioned herself for those type of owners, how she's been able to specialize even further. And that's been, I'm going to share a little bit more about the sort of how she's done that using social media. But it was a really great starting point when she seemed just like, oh, how am I going to talk to all these people? They're so different. But actually, they may have done different things. They may have had totally different types of horses, but they were one very, very specific type of owner. And they were also looking for somebody that could be a really big part of their life and their horses' lives. And they weren't, the kind of owner that was looking for a sort of one hit wonder, a quick fix. They were very much the opposite of that. So I think the hardest lesson in business, maybe one of them, there's probably quite a few, is this: that your ideal client isn't anybody with a dog or a horse. And like I shared at the beginning, when I started my training and coaching company, I was just like, anybody. I'm for everybody that loves ponies, just like I do. Everybody that wants to come on a horse with a course. And I just couldn't understand why everybody didn't want to come on a horse with a course. And you have to remember that you're not for everybody. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how amazing you are. It doesn't matter what results you get. You are just not for everybody. Not everybody will need or want your services. Ouch! I know that can feel quite hard, can't it? But it's really true. You're not for everybody. And the quicker you can get comfortable with that, the better. Because you hear no in business. Yeah? Just think how many times you've probably already heard no. Sorry, not how you've heard no. Think how many times you've already said no to all the different things that have come across your path that you could have bought so far today. So maybe it was something you heard on, I don't know, the radio and advert, TV, something, stuff on your phone, emails coming up. I'm sure imagine if you'd said yes to every single thing that has come across your path so far today, you would have spent thousands, multiple thousands. We say no to things all the time, don't we? I just think like, what could I have bought today? Well, I could have bought stuff from online. I could have bought programs that people are selling to me all the time. What do we have? Like a flyer for the door about, did we want something done to the house? That could have been another thing. We say no to things all the time. That's just life. That's very much life in 2026. But when you are the service, when you are the business, it can feel hard. It can feel uncomfortable. But you just need to remember that no in business is not personal, and you do have a choice about how you hear that no and how you frame it, reframe it, and whether that stops you taking action or not. So you're gonna have to hear no, but it doesn't need to be a negative thing. Okay. So now we've talked about niches. I want you to have a little bit more clarity about these dream clients. Who is it you want to work with? Who is it you'd like to attract? Now, for some of you, you may have some clarity on this. Great. For some of you, you might be like, oh, that's a good question. Do you know what? I'm not actually totally sure. And again, don't worry. Like, this is the whole point of being here and taking part in this masterclass. So spend a moment, okay? Who are these dream clients? Start thinking like them. Where are they? Where are they in real life? Where are they online? What's bothering them? So if you were to kind of drill into one of your dream clients' minds, what's actually bothering them? What's keeping them awake? What are they moaning to a friend about over a cup of coffee? What do they come back from the yard and go, oh, well, I wish, da, 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 da. When they look at their dog or they, I don't know, snuggle their dog on the sofa, what are they actually thinking about that animal? What's bothering? What is the problem that they need solving? Yeah, that is such an important question to be able to answer because you have to remember that whilst you think you're selling your services as a practitioner, and yes, of course, you are selling that, but you're selling so much more than a 60-minute consult, then a follow-up session, or whatever your offers look like specifically. You are solving a stress in somebody's life. So for me, as the cat mother of the lovely Genghis Khan, you'd be solving and giving me, you'd be solving a sort of a stress pocket. You'd be giving me peace of mind. You're giving me clarity. You are giving me maybe more tools that I could help my cat further with. So you need to remember that that's actually what you're marketing. You're marketing solving a problem. Your actual practitioner, therapy, whatever other services you do are the way you deliver solving that problem. Does that make sense? Because when you think, that's actually what I'm selling, marketing becomes so much easier. And this is why clarity is our first step, and it's so, so important. Okay. You might like to think about what your dream client's values are. Do they match your own? So one of my team members, actually, you may well have met her if you've interacted with us before. Amy, she started out in my world as a client, and then she's been a very valued team member for a number of years. And I remember her saying very clearly how she could not work with any owner who called their horse it. Or she said she went to somebody once and they hadn't named their horse, which is quite unusual, really. But she was like, we're just not a fit. Like, that's going to bother me. That I'm going to lie awake at night worrying about that. She could see straight away that they were not matched, that her values were so out of alignment with this particular person's values. So, and it is really important that you do have a match, somebody that is just looking for you to solve 5 years worth of an ill-fitting saddle, environmental issues that haven't been addressed. Like, you're not going to do that in one 60-minute session, are you? So you do need to have that match. And then do the results that you offer can potentially offer, does that match what somebody needs and wants? It might be that somebody wants to keep an animal, maybe it's a competition animal, happy and healthy and comfortable, but they also want to adhere to a schedule that they've got mapped out for the year, for the month, for the week, whatever. Does that work for you? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's not for everybody. So you need to know that the results that you're offering match what somebody needs and what they want. So how are we getting on with this clarity section? Okay, let's take a moment to just check in. I'd love you, if you're joining us live, just share a little bit in the chat, like, what is the actual problem that you're solving for people? And who are these dream clients? Like, what has come to light about who it is you actually want to work with? Because we've spent quite a bit of time on, it's just definitely not everybody, but I really want you to leave with some clarity on this. And a great way to get this clarity is to actually turn it around. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. If I do a massive sneeze, apologies. If you are thinking, oh gosh, who is it I want to work? Flip it over. Who is your nightmare client? Like, who are the people you do not want to work with? Now, you might think, oh, I thought she was super positive. That sounds very negative. It's such a useful transformative exercise. It really is, because it gives you clarity. And when you know who you don't want to work with, the reverse is really easy to then figure out. And remember that your marketing should be designed to attract, yes, welcome in these dream clients, but also repel the people you don't want to work with. Um, a great example of this is Kira, who went through one of my coaching programs. She was in a coaching program for about a year or so. And when she got really clear on who she didn't want to work with and actually started communicating this in a really powerful way, she'd be like, "You're not for me if da, 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 da." It helped her fill up her schedule with dream clients. She went from just really struggling to get her equine practice off the ground to having a full schedule and just feeling empowered to say, do you know what? I only want dream clients. I don't want to work with anybody. I don't want these kind of people. I do want these kind of people. It gave her so much clarity, it made her marketing so much easier and so much more effective. And I remember she shared with me when I saw her in person at a conference last year, how she's like, I just thought I'd have to get any clients. But I've actually got clients like I love working with. I've got dream clients. And as looking back on her like journey, like she changed so much that this was a real pivotal moment, is knowing who she didn't want as well as who she did want to work with. So it works, do this yourselves. Go to the dark side, so to speak. Give yourself that time and space to do that and think who you don't want to work with. Okay, step number 2, action. Right. Now you know who your ideal clients are. I'd love you to just jot down 3 places where your ideal clients are. This could be, I wouldn't say in real life, this could be offline, like physical places. It could be online, it could be a mixture of both, okay? Because this is all about taking aligned actions. You're going to see in a second, but just jot down 3 places that you think your ideal clients are going to be it online, or it could be people that they work with, anything like that, okay? Because we're going to need it in a second. Right, client attraction formula. Okay, so how are we getting these clients welcomed in? So this is our client attraction system that we use. Social media, strategic partnerships and referrals, veterinary referrals. So this would be referrals through strategic partners and also clients, existing clients, veterinary referrals, and expert positioning. Now, we're not going to cover all of those today. We're going to look at social media and we're going to look at strategic partnerships. We're going to touch on vet referrals as well, because this is all about what are your baseline marketing activities going to be, okay? What are you going to be doing repeatedly that just becomes normal actions in your business? And you need to be doing a bit of all of these things. All of these things work really, really well. Now, I'm a massive fan of social media, be that organic, be that paid, be that both. I love, love, love social media. I think we are so blessed to be able to grow and build a platform for free. Just takes a bit of time, where you can share your story, you can educate people, you can improve animals' lives through sharing your knowledge, you can serve the community, you can build connection. People get to see you. You get to build like know, like, and trust. People get to know you. They can find an affinity with you. It's really important that people do like you and trust you before they book you. I don't want anybody to come and see Genghis. I don't want someone just to randomly come in my house. I don't want any old person to come and see Taz. Like, I want a bit of connection. Like, I need to know that you're the right fit for me and one of my beautiful animals. Okay, so this is where social media gives you so many opportunities. It's fun. You can make new business friends. You can build a network. You can easily attract your next 10 clients with social media. It is absolutely golden. I just think we are so blessed to have social media. When I started my first equestrian business a very, very long time ago, over 20 years ago, You could put a card up in a tack shop and there was the yellow pages. That was it. And there was word of mouth, which definitely has a use, but it's also very random unless you have a strategy behind it. So I just think, wow, there has never been a better time to be in business than in 2026. So tell me, if you're here with me live, are you a lover or a hater of social media? Because I come across a lot of people saying, oh, I never do, I don't know what to say, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't need to be difficult. You just simply need two types of content, okay? You need content that's designed for growth and content that is designed to sell, okay? You need to have consistency and you need a plan. Those are fundamental. So for anyone that's like, oh, it doesn't really work for me, or it's a bit this, it's a bit that, are you focused on those two types of content? Probably not. Are you really, really consistent? Inside NKC Question, we look after social media for a handful of clients that we have a very, very bespoke content creation side to the business. And our most popular package is 3 posts and 3 stories a week. That's it. You know, it's not 20 posts a week, as you know, you might think, oh God, I have so much content. You don't at all. What you need to do is have consistency and content that is designed to deliver. Let me just share a little bit more about how that's actually going to look. So, great examples of nailing social media would be a vet. Now, a vet came into one of our programs 2021 and then came and took another program with us 23, 24, and 25. In 25, through social media, she tripled her sales. So she is a body worker, saddle fit, and a bit fitter. She tripled her sales. And I remember her sharing like a little graph of her sales from the year before compared to 2020. Yeah, so it was 20, she compared 24 to 25. And what did she do differently? She was ruthlessly consistent with social media. She stuck rigidly to growth posts and sales posts. She didn't post every day. She didn't tell the world what she was having for breakfast necessarily. She kept it really simple, but she kept showing up. She was just super, super consistent. Didn't take over her life. It wasn't really stressful. She just had a plan. She just kept implementing regular content, tripled her sales, which is absolutely amazing. And that was the change that she made, was actually getting social media to work for her. Wasn't working 10 times harder, wasn't doing anything crazy. It was just really getting the hang of social media. Lisa is another client who did the same. She doubled her client base, hit her goal, which was 3K a month, working 3 days a week. That's what she wanted to do. She said, I just want to work 3 days a week and not long days because I want to work around my family. She's a young family. I want to have time to ride my horse. And again, social media was really important to her. And when she had the clarity that we've already been through, social media was really easy because it's not about posting more or being on tons and tons of platforms. It's about being where your ideal clients are and talking to them in a way that resonates, where you solve their problems, where you shine awareness on their problems and you present yourself as the solution. So now I'd love to spend like an entire hour just talking to you about social media. I love social media so much. I'm just going to give you a couple of different types of content examples that you could go and implement. So opinion content is something that we do a lot of. It's something that works for our clients as well. So as the name suggests, this is quite simply you sharing your opinion. Now, it might be what you personally think. It might be a quote that you've seen somewhere else. It might be just you giving your own take on a piece of news that's happening in the world, in the industry, that's relevant to you and your ideal clients. What this type of content does is it gets people to know you and who you are and what you stand for. It builds connection. You know, like this example here on the right, I've said here, a client will become a friend faster than a friend will become a client. Isn't that true? And a piece of content like that, you're just like, oh yeah, yeah, that's really true. Yeah. You feel kind of an affinity, a connection. You feel seen and heard, don't you? Because that may be something you've heard, you've felt or experienced. And this type of content allows people to feel like they're not on their own. Yeah. So sharing your opinion can be super, super valuable. You might share business values, it lets a bit of your personality shine through, and it allows you to establish yourself as an expert. So opinion content, super quick and easy, doesn't need to be complicated. This is, after all, a photo with a little bit of text on. Like, this isn't a beautifully filmed and edited video. This this kind of takes minutes to create. Like, this is not complicated, but it's effective. Storytelling. Storytelling is another really powerful part of a well executed social media arm to client attraction. Telling a story, simple as that. We remember stories, don't we? A before and after picture doesn't land in the same way that it used to. We're all just thinking, yeah, really? Is that just AI? Is that just AI slop? That's the term I keep hearing at the moment. When you tell a story about how this horse came and the owner was worried about this and the horse was this or the dog was this and this was the problem and then this is what you did and now here's what the owner did and this is what the challenges were and here's the outcome. That's going to be so much more memorable for me than just horse photo A, photo B. I'm going to buy into that story. I'm going to remember that story so much more. And there's so many more chances for me to connect with that story. So I mentioned Erin earlier as somebody that's really harnessed social media really effectively for business growth. And one of the things that she's been doing is, sadly, her horse was diagnosed with kissing spines, but not a lady to be put down for more than a minute. She decided she was going to tell that story via her social media. And we have another client actually who's been doing something similar. Her horse had, oh gosh, an awful cut. Deep wound, is not healed in a simple way, but she's been telling that story as well. And they're both telling that story to help, to serve, to educate other people and to help other people who might be stuck, you know, their horse has got a big cut or they fear that happening, or somebody maybe undergoing a kissing spines sort of diagnostic process, or they've just had a diagnosis, or they fear that could be the thing. By sharing those stories, you're helping people not feel so alone. You're making a connection. And like that in itself is a win, isn't it? On another level, you're also building that connection, which is more than likely to come back to you as clients, as revenue. But when you start with telling a story, we're going to remember it. And you can do about anything: package, offer, why you started your business, client results. But so often people miss this, and this is what builds that connection. So social media doesn't need to be difficult, but you do need to plan. Right, let's look briefly then at another part of the client attraction formula, which is strategic partnerships, okay? Now, remember, probably about 10 minutes ago, I asked you to think of 3 places where your ideal clients would be, okay? Now, how could you help these people, these organizations, or these like physical stores or locations where people may be? What value could you offer? Because what you want to be doing is getting in front of these audiences. There's other professionals, there's other business owners, that might be a dog walker, a horse trainer, a boarding yard, all sorts of things where people have organized your perfect clients. And then you have this incredible opportunity to build a relationship, build strategic partnerships so that you can help them and their clients. So think about what value you could offer these organizations or these individuals. It may be online, it may be in person, like a dog trainer, for example, or puppy classes or something. Could you run a talk for their class? Could you showcase what you do? It might be an equestrian coach or trainer. Could you treat their own horse? Like, people with animals are practical people. We like to see what something does, don't we? And in the same way that if your service was selling rugs or something, you'd want to try the rug on, wouldn't you, on your horse? Um, we like to see what we're getting, and if you want to build a relationship where somebody is then going to be referring you to their clients, you need to do something for them. Yeah. That doesn't mean you've got to give away unlimited free sessions. No, goodness, no. But you need to be prepared to come with value. Like, when you serve first and sell second, you'll find that people do want to help you. We're all thinking, like, what's in it for me, aren't we? All the time, even if we're not consciously aware of that. So when you come to approach businesses, organizations, people, online, in person, however that looks, and you're like, look, I'd really love to help your clients with this. I was thinking, like, we help similar people in different ways, and I'd love to offer this. How'd that be? You'll find people say yes. If you come in with, hey, could you like tell your clients, could you give these leaflets out? And they've never heard of you, would you give out the leaflets? Maybe they'd also get left in a pile and forgotten about, yeah? Because this is not, yes, this masterclass is about your next 10 clients, but this is actually about the tools that offer now, yes, but also that are going to serve you 6 months down the line, 6 years down the line, and so forth. This isn't about one hit ones or quick wins. This is about having aligned strategies that you can continue to grow and utilize for years to come. Strategic partnerships is a great example of that. It can give you a quick win, yep, but it can also give you client after client for years to come, which is fantastic. Lana is a great example of strategic partnership. So when she came to me, she was very much relying solely on word of mouth recommendations, which word of mouth is lovely for your business. It really, really is. But it can also be totally random because you don't know when somebody is going to tell their friends about you. We think as soon if we think, oh, if we do a good job, they'll just tell everybody. In reality, it doesn't actually work like that, because yes, that will be the case with some people, but we don't always shout about all the things that are going well in our lives to everybody that we know. Sometimes we wait until somebody asks us, or sometimes the reverse can happen. And we actually, when we found somebody that we love, a service provider that we love, we can actually want to keep them hidden, keep them a secret so that we get priority access, so that we don't miss out. I'm sure we've all done that when we find a great person that we love working with, or maybe it's like, I don't know, a hay supplier. We don't want to tell our friends because we're like, oh, I want to make sure I'm getting that riding lesson, or that dog walker isn't too busy, or that the hay guy can do my yard first. It's amazing how, as business owners, we think everyone is going to talk about us, and yeah, they will and they do, but it's not a consistent client attraction part of your business, not unless it has a plan behind it. So what Lana did was to move from these word of mouth recommendations. She was just getting really random results, to building these strategic partnerships with local dog trainers and working with behaviorists. And she doubled her revenue in her business in about 6 months. And strategic partnerships were a huge, huge part of that. So, like I said, I think there's a bit of a myth that word of mouth is like the be all and end all. Actually, do you know what? It is really helpful. But word of mouth has also changed, because if I said to my friend Sue, oh, who shall I get over for this? She's not going to give me your phone number like she might have done 5 years ago. She's going to send me a link to your social media. I'm then going to check you out, and then I will take action. Or maybe I won't. But I want to see who you are before I pick up the phone. My friend's recommendation, it's not quite enough anymore. It goes a really long way. It means that you get found, but it may not be 100% of what converts me into a client. Vet and referrals. Okay, vet and referrals, super helpful for your business. Now, depending on where you are in the world, some places this is easier. Some places this is a little more restrictive, depending on different, there's certainly some states in the US and some parts of Canada where this is harder, where vets are not going to refer, where it's just a little bit more challenging. But for the vast majority of you, vet referrals are a really solid route for client attraction. Now, there's lots and lots of things to think about, and we can't go into every aspect of this. This is, a whole 90-minute training on its own. But I'd love you to just think, are you trying to target a practice, or are you actually trying to target a vet? You really want to get that clarity that we talked about your ideal client when it comes to vets. You are not necessarily going to be for every single vet in the area. And you need to be building a relationship. I always liken working with vets is a bit like dating. Yeah. One email is not going to lead to a marriage proposal. So if you're kind of going in with, hey, here I am, send me clients, it's not going to work. Like, you need to build a relationship. Equine world versus canine vets, things work very, very differently. Small animal practices, it's very busy. It's much harder to get hold of an individual vet. There's a lot more gatekeepers, reception teams, and so forth. You may well be better working with some of the nursing team. You need a strategy. Just dropping off a business card, just sending one email to surreyvets.com or something. It's not going to work. Like, it's never going to even get found to the person you actually want to speak to. So you want to make sure that you are clear about what you want from building this relationship. So yeah, ultimately you want referrals, but a bit like the marriage analogy, you're not going to go in straight with, hey, right, lovely, we've said hello, let's set a date. Okay, you might want to go in offering to do like a lunch and learn training. You might want to go in saying, do you know what? I would love to get to know the practice a bit more. I'd love to get to know you a bit more. Can I come and spend half a day with you? Can I come to the practice and show you what I do? You've got a senior dog, you've got a competition horse. Can I work on your horse or your dog and show you what I can do? Can you get some of your clients together so I can give you a demo? Like, again, like the strategic partnerships, you need to have something to offer them, okay? Because this is about building long-term relationships. And there are so many amazing vets who are like waiting for a practitioner to be on their team. And there's so many places where they don't have in-house therapists. There's so many places where they may have one modality offered, but they may be crying out for something different. It's up to you to do that work. And at the very minimum, vets in your area, they need to know who you are. Even if they're not referring directly to you, like, that doesn't mean you can't have a relationship, because who knows where that vet may end up next. They may start their own practice. They may move somewhere else. You just don't know. And if I said to my vet, oh, I'm thinking about getting so-and-so out, do you know them? What do you think? And my vet said, who? I've never heard of them. That is in what my mind is hearing is, don't go there. So your vet saying, I mean, they haven't said anything bad about you, but they've simply said who? That does not bode well on you. So it might be that my vet says, well, I don't actually know him or her personally, but do you know, I do recognize that name. I think I've had an email, or I think we might have met, or, oh yes, actually, they did come out and spend some time with me, or I did see them. They might not say, yes, absolutely, 1,000,000% you should get this person out. They're amazing. But if they can at least acknowledge you from one professional to another. For me as an owner, that does a lot. Yeah. So vet referrals, key parts of client attraction. There are some moving pieces, yes, but most people don't bother. Most people really don't go put in the work that is required for veterinary referrals. But my gosh, when you do, it is absolutely golden for your business. It really, really is. Okay, so that's the vet referrals. Right, we are coming to our final step, which is embody. How do you become this person that has these next 10 clients, that attracts them with ease, that holds this comfortably, that then welcomes in the next 10, the next 100, or whatever it is you want in your business? Who is this version of you that can attract these clients, that can hold this level of success? So I shared in one of my earlier slides that like the identity shifting is such a key part of business success. It really, really is, because if you were the person that could easily attract 10 regular clients, 80 clients, 100 clients, 15 clients, whatever it looks like, you'd already have them. Yeah? Let that land. You would already have those people if you were that version of you that could do this easily and hold it comfortably. So that means there is some change required, okay? So I'd love you to think, future pace yourself. If you had those 80 clients, if you had those 10 clients, if you had this consistency, if you had this big client base, you had whatever it is you want, who would you be? How would you feel? What routines and rituals would you have in your life? Like, what would you do when you woke up in the morning? What would you eat for breakfast? What would your energy be like? What would your posture be like? What would you be thinking? Yeah. So what would you do first thing? What would you do routinely in your business? What would your baseline marketing activities be? What would be an ingrained habit that you'd always do? Because there'd be things that you do differently. Now, it may not be radically different. You're not going to be taller, you're not going to be shorter. You've probably got the same hair color. It'll probably not look very different, but something will have shifted in you, in how you feel and how you show up and the action that you take. And that's when your results will look different. So yeah, the client attraction system, that formula, it works, it delivers time and time and time and time again. But this is why it works. And this is what really makes it work, is you becoming that next version of you. So if you've had those 10 clients, 20 clients, 80 clients, what would you be thinking? What would be deep beliefs that you would hold? What would you believe about yourself? What would you believe about what is available? What would you believe about future clients? Because I know for some of you, you're like, yeah, I want these clients, I need these clients. But oh, it's a bit crowded marketplace. Or there other people in my area, or have people got any money? Or people are going to spend. That's not what the version of you who has these clients would think, is it? And you know that. So you've got some shifts to make in your belief system for sure. Yeah. Thoughts to change, beliefs to change. You could simply ask yourself, what would be my most thinking thought? Your most thinking thought, if you already had the 10, 20, 100 clients, wouldn't be, I hope they liked it. Am I good enough? Oh gosh, do people want to work with me? It would be, I can do this. We are crushing this. Like, people want to work with me. Those perfect clients are out there. People reach out to me daily wanting my services. That would be the kind of things you'd be thinking. And what would your environment look like? Your environment is so crucial to how you feel and your identity. Now, I'm not saying you've got to move house or bulldoze down walls or anything particularly dramatic, but again, there'll be something, it may be bigger or it may be super subtle, that next version of you, the one that has what you want, things would look different. Maybe they're more tidy, maybe they're more organized. Maybe things are less cluttered. Maybe you have this beautifully clean car. Maybe not if you've got animals. Maybe you've got a perfectly organized tack room. Maybe your kitchen cupboards or your fridge is stocked in a particular way. Maybe your bedroom looks different. Like it could just be your desk is super neat and tidy, or your whatever your workspace looks like. Again, it doesn't have to be drastic, but it would also be different. Okay. So take a little bit of time on who this version of you is. And a fabulous example of this is Alice, who I worked with last year for the entire year in one of my coaching programs. And she already had an established business, but she was not a CEO. And that's who she needed to become. She was spinning all these plates and dabbling in a bit of this and a bit of that. Actually, when she shifted her identity into leading her company, leading her practice forward, she took on additional team members, and then she was able to hit 5-figure months very, very consistently. Whereas before, she'd have a good month, she'd have a quiet month, and the biggest change came from her changing her identity. She started thinking like a leader of her business, showing up like that. She stopped doing some of the routine day-to-day things that she had other people that could do it for her, or she delegated to somebody else. She actually let people help her and support her so that she could take bigger strategic decisions, so that she could focus on building really, really great strategic relationships and partnerships. So she could work on positioning the business. And when she stopped sort of fiddling in some of those everyday things, she was able to do that. And she also was a lot happier in the process because she felt so much less stress. So this identity shifting, this embodiment work, like it might sound a little bit like fluffy to some of you, but think of it this way. If you were an athlete or a competition rider, or you wanted to go and win, I don't know, something at Crufts with your dog, or whatever other dog, big Crufts is the one that springs to my mind, you would be seeing yourself as that successful version. You wouldn't be walking up to the 100-meter track to compete in the finals for a gold medal of the 100-meter sprint going, well, give it a shot, see how it goes. You'd be coming out with certainty. You would be embodying yourself as a winner. Whether you won or not, you'd be pitching up like you were going to win in exactly the same way that you would be if you were going around a big event on a horse or doing something, a big dog show or something. You would be approaching it as a winner. You'd be thinking like a crafts winner. You'd be thinking like a badminton winner. Your behaviors would reflect that. Your environment would reflect that. And then soon enough, so would your results. Okay. So we know this works. Now, we've been through a lot, haven't we? Just knowing these 3 steps is not going to give you the results. As I've said at the beginning and all along, you've got to do something with this. You do need the identity shifting. Like there's a reason we've just spent time on this embodiment piece. You also need accountability in the same way that, yes, I'm a qualified riding coach. I need my trainer to help me with the horse. I need somebody keeping me on track. I need somebody personalizing what I could do. Yeah, I need help. I need support. And you getting your next 10 clients is exactly the same. You're going to need to personalize these steps to work for you. So I've given you so many amazing tools. You've got this clarity, understanding the power of the niche. You know who your ideal clients are. You've started to understand who you don't want to work with. You can see where these people are, how to build strategic partnerships, how to work with vets, how to harness social media. Now it's up to you to shift your identity, but you're going to need this accountability and personalizing these steps. So what does make it work is this embodiment, becoming the person who actions the plan, personalized support so that there's somebody there when it's going well and when it's not going so well. Because do you know what? You can put a social media post up and it does absolutely nothing. In the grand scheme, it will be doing something as part of a bigger picture, but that day it feels like it does nothing. You can feel like you are talking to yourself. That's when you want support, like in the same way that you might have a great ride and another day you might have a ride where you're like, am I making any progress? And you need to be taking action, even if it feels uncomfortable. I know for some of you, reaching out to vets, building those strategic partnerships will test you, but being the person that's going to take that action anyway, that's what makes it work. It really, really does. So if you truly want to attract more clients in the next 30 days and beyond, I see you've got three options, okay? Stay the same, keep doing what you're doing and sort of hope it works. Try and implement what I've taught you today and just hope for the best. Or let me help you. Let me help you for free. So we have opened up 10 strategy calls where in just 30 minutes, we can help you with clarity on your bigger dreams, visions, find out what roadblocks are keeping you stuck. It could be with your identity, it could be with your mindset, it could be with anything else, but let's find them and give you some practical actions that you can implement straight away. So we've opened up these 10 strategy sessions where we can work together. They'll be with me or one of my team to create this bespoke 90-day plan, because your next 30 days, you can easily welcome in your next 10 clients, but you want this to be part of a 90-day plan so you know what to do after the 30 days. We've only got 10 spots. If you scan this QR code, you'll get straight into my calendar where you can book one of these strategy sessions. They are so, so helpful. So I really wanted to help you, yes, for today in this masterclass, but also to help you on a more personalized level so that you can welcome in the next clients that you want to. So please do feel free to book one of those spots. And then I would love to just take any questions that we may have remaining. Because as I said, we have been through a lot so far today. So opening up for those of you joining us live into any questions. Right, what have we got in here? Okay. Okay, let's go into some ideal client stuff. Right. Teaching, 20 clients, want some more barns. Really helpful for advertising. People treat their horse like family. Oh, I love that. Love that, love that, love that. Head shakers, yeah, we've got more clarity on ideal clients. Fixing problem horses. Problem solving. Don't have clients I'm new. Love to work with clients who love their horse, want the best for their horse. Fantastic. There's so much additional clarity. I love this. Want people that are invested in performance longevity. Yes, Kate, I love that. Not the quick fix, or as I call them, the drawings brigade. That's not who you want to be working with. How do you do that without clients or horses to post about? Okay, so Gemma, I think what you're asking here is, how do you tell stories if you haven't got clients right this minute? Okay, well, have you got horses of your own or other animals? Have you got any case studies? Have you worked with people when you were training where you can tell their story? Okay, I'm sure you do have some client results, whether they were actually paying clients or they were your own horses, but I'm sure you have got some stories that you could lean into. Try different themes for social media, but no extra clients. So, Angela, I wish there was just this one social media post. I said, just do this one post, big. It works. It's all part of the formula. Yeah. So I'm hearing a lot of struggling. Tell me who your ideal clients are. Let's see what we can do to help you. Struggle with social media, find it difficult to create content. Annabelle, do you feel now you can see the power of like growth and sales content, that gives you something to go with? Let me know. Not always sure about what I stand for. Okay, Sarah, you're a social fan. Love this. Not always sure about what I like, who I am, what I'm standing for. Get clear on that because it'll make creating your content so much easier. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a real thing, Jane. Like Jane is just saying, like working with racing yards, they don't share. They're not going to talk about you. No, they're not. And that's the same with a lot of performance riders. You'll be a secret and the work that you do. They don't want to publicize they've had somebody working on the horse. Um, and that is just a fact that, this is why you can't just rely on word of mouth, which is why sometimes you might want to share a client story which doesn't feature that actual client and it's very, very generic. And it's literally you just with maybe your own horse telling a story in very round terms where nobody's identified, nobody's named, and so forth. But that can still be valuable. Um, Joan, yes, I want to be a CEO. Oh, I love that, Kate. If I want clients to invest in a horse, well, I want to invest in myself. I love that, love that, love that. One thing to think actually here, Kate, is with pricing, and this isn't a pricing question, but when you've talked about investment, I just want to bring this up, is that you're asking people, all of you are asking people to make an investment. And we think it's all about the money, but it's not. You're asking me to, to spend my time and spend my energy as well as some money. I need to understand what I get out of it. I need to understand how you're solving my problem and how you're solving like that kind of like bigger problem, if that makes sense. I like ripple effect. So in you coming to see my horse, yes, immediate fix. My horse is softer, more comfortable, looser. You've got rid of some tension, whatever is going on. Actually, bigger thing is that's lovely, and I appreciate that, and that's great. But also ripple effect, phew, taking some pressure off me. We've either found something we need to work on, we maybe need to investigate further, or you've said, do you know what? Actually, doing great. Yeah, this is probably just quite normal because he's just new to not going in a straight line. And you're just starting to ask a few more questions that this is just kind of normal. Great. What a relief off my mind. So think about the actual problem you're solving as well as how you're helping an animal because they're two different things and you want to be marketing both of those. Okay, what role is AI playing in social? It's a great question. Um, People are using AI in very different ways for social media. So sometimes they are using it to create some really rubbish content. And sometimes AI can be really helpful, like planning out strategy. I think it can be great for generating ideas. I think that AI, when it comes to writing all of your posts, doesn't always look so good. I think we've got quite there's AI and there's AI. I think that's the other thing to mention, Sarah. Like there's some really great AI tools that with some decent prompts, you can really train to think and speak and talk like you and create content like you actually would. But I think if you're going with something that is perhaps a bit generic or you aren't giving it all the tools and all the information, it's just going to come out with something that will look like AI wrote it. So I think AI is amazing. It can save us lots of time, lots of energy. It can be a real great springboard, but I'd also just caution with it can also produce some real rubbish. So definitely it's got a role. I think that role is going to get stronger. But at the moment, we definitely still need humans as well. I think that sense checking is really important. So Diane, starting the business from scratch. Yes, we do have a coaching program, the Expert Academy, which helps people who are just starting out with mindset, with money mindset, with prices, packaging, client attraction, working with vets, etc., etc., as well as people that have been in practice for a while and they are perhaps just like, okay, what's my next level? Sometimes people have been in practice for a number of years and they just hit a bit of a plateau, or they're just like, do you know what? I want to learn more. I want to make marketing easier. I want to get this to the next level. So this program there's lots in there about how to, but also lots of shortcuts. Like we give you social media templates and post ideas and things like that. We've really tried to give you all the tools so that you know what to do for now, but also you know what to keep doing so you keep growing your client base and keep growing your business. Struggle with computers. I don't remember to create it and thought of me feels me doing. It's having a plan. And I think Annabelle as well, like shifting into what it can do for you and how you can be that person that actually doesn't feel overwhelmed. Because it's a bit like, I don't know, you could feel overwhelmed or concerned about riding a young horse, or I don't know, treating multiple animals in a day, or whatever it is. You can also shift into feeling confident about that task. So I think it sounds like some identity shifting and also some tools and finding your voice and really getting that, again, goes back to the clarity step, knowing who you're talking to, knowing who you are and what you and your business stand for. It then makes it so much easier to create content. It really, really does. Lauren, lovely to have you join us. So I'm really glad you took lots from that. And yeah, if you haven't already, book onto one of the strategy sessions. That will help you enormously. Right, if there's any further questions I can help with, please do share them. If you're joining us on the replay, please stick the questions over to the team on email. So send those over to nicola@nkcequestrian.com, and Amy will come back to you with an answer or send it on to me. But there's a good chance she'll already know the answer. So if you do have a question and you weren't able to join us live, then that's where I suggest you put that, because we'd really still like to help you. And if you're like me and you think of the perfect question when you have finished the live training, then please do also feel free to email that over to us at nicola@nkcequestrian.com. Right, well, thank you so much for everyone's time and attention. What an absolute pleasure to help you all with attracting your next 10 clients. And I really look forward to seeing many of you very, very soon. Right, bye for now. See you later.